Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Yep, it's Friday. Good morning. Welcome to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We'll have JC, we'll have Kerwin Bell. We'll talk 84 Florida Gators. They will be honored tomorrow night, probably at the end of the first quarter is my guess. Real briefly, but they're having a golf tournament and some barbecues and all that kind of stuff. So if you missed it last night, the Bronx Bombers go down in extras. The Metropolitans get clobbered again, and they both play today. Dodgers have a chance to go to the World Series. Really good baseball, though, in the Yankees game. And then I believe Virginia Tech beat Boston College last night. And the Saints go down in the Superdome to the Bo Nix-led Broncos, which two awful football teams. I don't know how else you say it. JC, I know you watched that game. Good morning.
No, I didn't watch it because it was streaming, but, let's face it, Dennis Allen has no business being a head coach in the NFL. And I will tell you that I did watch Boston College play Virginia Tech. They almost came back to tie a game after being down 28-0, but failed to convert on 4th and inches, and then Virginia Tech took it from there. And I still cannot understand how in the living hell the Yankees lose to the Cleveland Guardians.
The Indians.
Yeah, Indians. And I swear, I'm telling you, dude, they're down. The score is 5-3. There are 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. There is nobody on base, and the batter has 2 strikes on him, 0-2 count. And we've got Luke Weaver, who's very hot, pitching for New York. The chances were less than 0.5% for Cleveland to come back and win, and that is exactly what they did playing long ball. And Weaver lost that
Big Christmas. Big Christmas hit a bomb. That's
Big
what they
Christmas
call it.
Hit a bomb, and Fry hit a bomb, and listen, you've got an 0-2 count on the batter with 2 outs, and he ran it full, and then he grooved one. Guy hit a double, and then Big Christmas hit one. The garbage man hit one about 500 feet. And the place was on fire, and then they win in overtime. So, hey, I mean, that's really hard to stomach as a Yankee fan. You have a chance to go 3-0 and just basically put it away, but it's still on. And so we'll see. What would the networks do if Cleveland played L.A. in the World Series? I don't think they'd like that at all. They want New York in there. So.
No. Speaking of that, I want to go ahead and get to This Day in Sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put your star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. So, JC, you being a New York guy, right? You're. I don't know why you like anybody in New York, but you apparently grew up there or something. I can't remember the story. Don't need to hear it. So, in 1889, JC, is it cold?
Yeah, it's like.
Are you in Ames, Iowa right now? What's the deal?
I might as well be in freaking Ames, Iowa, or I could be in Champaign, Illinois. But
Illinois,
yeah, I could be there. I could be in Champaign, Urbana, as they get ready to take on the Wolverines coming to the Big Ten. So Big Ten game.
Right. So back to This Day in Sports, 1889. Do you like the Yankees then?
Long time ago.
The Yankees weren't around then, but
no.
It was the first all New York City World Championship Baseball Series.
Oh, wow.
The New York Giants played the Brooklyn Bridegrooms.
Right.
And the Giants went on to win the series 6-3.
Well, so now that I know that happened.
The Bridegrooms. Did you know there was a Bridegrooms baseball team?
No idea. That's an incredible history lesson you just gave us.
The thing you learn on this show, JC.
I tell you, people won't be able to couldn't go throughout the rest of their day without knowing what happened on October 18th, 1889. But thank God.
That was 1883.
1883. Now we know. We also have, QB, we have 4 football games tonight. 4 college football games tonight, including the hated Florida State Seminoles traveling to Durham, North Carolina to play Duke. And they are playing Duke as an underdog. I think this is the first time in history that Florida State has been an underdog to Duke. Maybe it's the second time, but it is unbelievable. It tells you where these programs are right now. And then the red-hot BYU Cougars are playing Oklahoma State at home. Oklahoma State can't get out of their own way.
A team that, Florida State obviously has been very disappointing, ranked in the top 10. But another team that was ranked, I think, in the top 10 or maybe top 15 is Oklahoma State. They've had some. What's their problem?
They've forgotten how to tackle people, and I don't know really why they can't tackle people all of a sudden. And Ollie Gordon is not having the year that everybody thought he'd have. He's just not produced in the same manner. You got to feel for a team like Arizona State, where Jeff Scatterbo, the running back, he came from, I think, Sacramento State, and he's lighting it up for Arizona State. And then they lose their quarterback, Sam Levitt, last week. And guess who's going to play for them against Cincinnati this weekend? And think about it. What the college football playoff has done is give teams like Arizona State and Cincinnati playing in the Big 12 still a real chance to go to the college football playoff. And that is what's increasing interest. I don't think college football has ever been better. And here we have Arizona State going with Jeff Sims, your favorite quarterback.
Who is?
Jeff Sims is going to play for Sun Devils.
Who's he play for?
Sun Devils, Arizona State.
What happened to their other quarterback?
I told you Sam Levitt got hurt last week.
Oh, Arizona State's done.
You believe
They're
it?
Done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a turnover machine, and yet he is going to get the start. So, he's horrible. But listen, he's going to start. Maybe he's gotten better, QB. I doubt it.
No, he's been playing college ball as long as Dylan Gabriel. He's the same guy. He's terrible.
Right, but this is the thing, and this is what the 12-team playoff has done, and it's kept everybody still playing for something, at least this deep in the season, whereas in the past, we wouldn't have anything like this. You've got Florida now going in at 3-3. This Kentucky game, QB, it's so important. It's for so many different reasons, but not just because it's an SEC game, not because the great national champion 84 team is going to be there. And by the way, breaking news, I have found out, and I know for a fact that barring anything unforeseen, Neil Anderson, the great running back for the Florida Gators, will be in the stadium on Saturday night with his teammates, as he should, and as he is excited to be doing. And today they're going to Ironwood, QB. You should go to Ironwood.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Go to Ironwood, get out there with them, and toast the greatness of the 84 team, which was the best.
I will toast the greatness to them at the tailgate that I will stop by and say hello and shake some hands. I only know a few of them. They don't know who the hell I am, but I know a few of them. But I will not partake at Ironwood.
That's where the tournament's at, QB. Come on.
Yeah. No interest.
Well, I mean,
on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. All About Blake says, discouraging that Shane has flipped on Kiffin. Everyone talked about it like it was almost a sure thing. I didn't flip on him. What show has he listened to?
Well, you think that was your guy.
He still is my guy.
Still got a chance. I don't know why people.
Here's the great thing is people only hear what they want to hear. They don't listen to the whole story.
Okay.
I have zero control on who the next coach is going to be if there is a new coach. Okay.
Yeah.
But the guy that I want is Lane.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't mean that Lane's going to be hired. Well, I just don't think the higher ups will approach him.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be.
It has nothing to do with me flipping because I ain't flipping.
I think it would be a mistake. I think he'd do tremendous things at Florida, and I think that Ole Miss is in a position now where really they've got another loss somewhere on that schedule, and if it happens, and they see nothing to look forward to going forward, other than to play it out and go 9-3. Now it's a big check to write, QB. It's going to be a massive check.
Well, again, like you ain't writing it, I'm not writing it, so I'm not worried about it.
True.
Michael says or asks on YouTube, good question, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, do you think Stoops throws all kind of different defensive looks at Lagway, try to confuse him by dialing up exotic blitzes, or how do you see them playing this out? Tennessee blitzed him late in the game, and he had some issues. Look, Stoops is very good. They do what they do. They blitz only when they have to blitz. They're going to play their base defense, and they'll get after you because they're just really athletic at the linebacker position, especially the outside linebackers. Yeah. I mean, they will mix it up, but I don't think so. I think they'll say, you know what, this is what we do. This is what we do well. Can you beat us?
Yeah, well, and they are scary on defense. I mean, that's just all there is to it. So, it's going to be a real
Ryan
challenge.
says, Ryan says, I heard Ironwood is a poor man's Augusta National.
What? It's something, all right. I don't want to disparage our great facilities here in Gainesville, Florida, because Lord knows we have so many great recreational facilities here.
Yeah, it's
But
because of our county and our
but
commissioners and all those people.
they just don't. All you have to do is be on Delta Airlines, leaving or coming in, and if you go over that golf course, which happens about half the time you're flying, and you look down, you will not see a golf course that you thought was a golf course. You will see something that looks like more of a landfill. But it's what it is. I mean, they just don't have money. They don't put money in there. They don't have golf people to take care of it. So that's the way it is. That's the city-owned thing. That's what happens when government takes over private enterprise. It all goes to hell. So that's what you got. That's what you got, folks. But hey, the 84 team is going to be there. And listen, they were the best team in the country. The BYU Cougars officially won the national title that year and had a very hard time being a very average and poor 6-6 Michigan team in the Holiday Bowl to win that national title. And if BYU had played Florida in the playoffs, or I should say in a bowl game for the national championship in 84, BYU would have lost by 3 touchdowns or more. So that's the fact. That's the truth. That's what I remember. And that is what's going to be honored on Saturday. And I really hope that they get a 5-minute standing ovation, because that's been a forgotten team. And now they're finally getting some recognition that they so richly deserve, only 40 years later. But thank God it's happening. Thank God it's happening. And I'm so glad that Neil's going to go, because he was a great player on that team.
Champion your recovery with Core Power, delicious high-quality protein to build muscles and electrolytes to help hydrate. Core Power, replenish, repair, and rebuild. We got JC here. We're going to do our Peachland Dental picks here in just a second. Then we'll have Kerwin Bell talk 84.
Yeah.
There was something I just wanted to read on here. I don't know where it went though. Anyway, I'll find it here in a second. So JC, let's go ahead and jump into it, because I don't know exactly. I think Kerwin is going to be on the bus. Those Catamounts have to travel to Furman this week. I think they're leaving early this morning.
Okay.
So he'll be calling in from the bus. I don't know exactly when he's going to be calling in.
That's fine.
It's time for our Peachland Dental
through it.
picks. Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go visit them at peachlanddental.com. All right, what do you got on the slate for us this week?
On the slate, by the way, you are 42-34-1, pretty good average, pretty good number against the spread, and I'm 40-36-1, so I'm 2 games behind you. All right, we start with
real quick, JC. You do realize that you can legally sports bet in Florida on hundreds of props, parlays, game lines, and more. The only legal place to bet online in the state of Florida, Hard Rock Bet. Do you have your app? There
it is. Welcome, John. It is so great. They give you boost potentials there. They give you. It has been we have been enlightened in the state of Florida. Thank God for the Seminole Tribe of Florida getting this thing going, and the semis. And the governor being a big part of it as well. All right. God bless Ron DeSantis. So here we go. Nebraska. We're going to the Big Ten. Nebraska and Indiana. They have a sellout crowd in Bloomington. First time in decades. Tickets are going for over $100 in that stadium. It's never happened. It's unbelievable, the excitement. It's a noon game, though, but it's still Nebraska and Indiana. And all I can hear now, all I'm hearing people talk about is the 63-year-old Kirk Cignetti is coming to Florida. Yeah, it's unbelievable, the rumors. But anyway, Indiana is giving 6.5 to Nebraska. And, Raiola did not play his best game last weekend, but Nebraska is 5-1, and you got to hand it to Matt Rule. He has turned a program around that was dead. And same with Cignetti, turned a program around that was dead. That's why it can happen here at Florida if you get the right guy, UAA people. But anyway, Indiana lands 6.5, and I'm going to take the Hoosiers. Yep, I'm going to. All
right, I'm going to take Tommy Frazier and the Huskers. I don't think they win the game, but I think they could keep it close.
Good spread. All right, down the road is Louisville, Kentucky, and they've got the Miami Hurricanes coming in.
Isn't that game tonight, or is it tomorrow?
No, it's tomorrow.
Okay,
it's tomorrow. But Miami's going to play Louisville, and that's your guy, Brahm. You love him. And he's catching 5 at home. I mean, that's a big number to catch at home. Big number.
I like Louisville in the upset.
Yeah, I think I honestly think Miami should have 2 losses. I really, I just do. I think Virginia Tech was better, and I think Cal should be. A lot of officiating benefits for Miami lately. Michigan play. Oh, let me get this going. My guy, Luke Altmaier, and the Illini at home.
Where's he from, JC? You know where Luke Altmaier's from?
I don't. No, I don't know.
He's from Starkville High School.
Oh, really?
He signed with the Ole Miss Rebels and then transferred when he didn't beat out Jackson Dart.
I'll be there. Well,
so
good
you
for
learn
Luke.
A lot of stuff here.
And you learned that the BYU Cougars beat Michigan in the Holiday
Yes,
Bowl.
but I will tell you. Tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. Because I was 14 years old. Didn't give 2 craps about Florida.
That's right.
Was Robbie Bosco the quarterback of BYU?
That's a good question. I don't know, but Lavelle Edwards was the coach, and I think it could have been Robbie Bosco. That's a great question. It probably was, but they were undefeated, and they beat a lousy Michigan team barely. I think in overtime. Kerwin will tell you. But
Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon. Speaking of ticket prices, 50-yard line tickets for the Gator game, homecoming, Kentucky, went from $350 to about $70.
Yeah, well, $350 is unbelievable that anybody would actually pay that. But yeah, I don't. I'm not surprised at all. Michigan at Illinois QB. I'm going to take the Illini plus 3.5.
I like the Illini because of Luke Altmaier.
I do too. Quarterback. Michigan has no quarterback. It's just that simple. Notre Dame is traveling to Georgia Tech. Everybody's forgotten about this game, and for good reason. There's so many great games. October 19th was the day you circle on the calendar, and here we are now. Notre Dame at Georgia Tech, where the Jackets are at home in Atlanta, getting 10. I'm sorry, but you give me a home team with capabilities like that, and I'm taking the 10. I don't care about Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's playing at Bobby Dodd Stadium.
That's right.
Interesting.
In Atlanta. I think it's at Bobby Dodd. I don't know why it would be in the Mercedes Dome, but it could be actually in the Mercedes Dome. Let me check.
Well, I don't care where it is. I'll take the Rambling Wreck.
I don't want to be wrong about that.
All right, while you're looking that up, we got a text here on the Titan Our text line from Daryl. Says JC needs a safari hat on this morning with all the birds in the background. Also, JC, thanks for the advice on the tickets. A man for the people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got it, Daryl. Hey, by the way, this game is in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so it is not at Bobby Dodd. I don't know why Tech would let that happen. Well, that just means Notre Dame can put more people in the building. That's just, some people that make these decisions up there in the ivory towers of these schools are just idiots. But whatever. Maybe that's
well, JC, you know who's getting all the money? It's a home game. So Georgia Tech's getting all the money by putting more people in the Georgia Dome.
So why don't you play it on campus? You got 60,000 seats or 50,000 seats.
They ain't got
they got 50,000, don't they? Yeah.
So Toby says it was Steve Young was the quarterback.
Steve Young?
I think Steve Young was older than that.
I think he was too. I think he came later. This is
one of my research department people. Get that answer.
Well, listen, BYU was unbeaten, but they were not even half the team, the 84 Florida Gators. Not even half. And whatever that means. But they were not as good. I'm taking Tech plus 10, QB. I don't care where it is.
No, I like the Rambling Wreck. I said it.
Oh, sorry. All right. Go to the SEC now. Auburn, this team can't score. Missouri's going to lock them up and only laying 4. I think Missouri wins by at least 10. Take Missouri minus 4.
Yeah, you can't trust Auburn offensively. I'll take the Tigers at home, the Mizzou Tigers.
Here are 2 teams offensively that have just absolutely failed this year. One of them is Oklahoma. The other is South Carolina. Since when would you ever think that South Carolina at Oklahoma would be damn near a pick'em? But OU is laying 1.5. They are just an atrocity on offense, and I don't know why anybody's surprised. Bert Venables has never been an offense guy, but Oklahoma is laying 1.5, and I'm going to take South Carolina.
I'm going to take the Sooners at home because South Carolina ain't any better on offense.
Maybe they found something last week. Who knows?
What?
Nothing. I mean, they scored 25 points. Although one of those touchdowns was a pick. It was a pick 6, I think. Tampa. Texas A&M at Mississippi State plus 18. Now, has Mississippi State found something with this kid that threw a bunch of touchdowns against Georgia? No? Okay. You got to lay 18?
What is it, 18?
Uh-huh.
That is a lot. I'll take it, though.
I'm going to take Mississippi State to be different. hoping they stay inside the number. Texas A&M hasn't played in 2 weeks. Who knows? They could come in there flat. I doubt it, but you never know. This is college football. LSU at Arkansas. Great game here. Arkansas plus 2.5. Can LSU come off that victory the other day against Mississippi? It's this is a trap spot, I think, because LSU's got some toughies coming up after this. Arkansas is getting 2.5 at home. I think it comes down to the quarterback for Arkansas. And I think this number would be bigger if they had to play the backup who can't throw the football. So if they're going to go with the tall kid that's got at least a chance to complete a pass, I think Arkansas could hang with them. I think that's why the number's 2.5. So I'm going to go with that and say Bobby Petrino dials up some plays. And I wouldn't be surprised to see LSU have some problems against that defense, but LSU's got a hot quarterback right now, and it's hard to pick against him.
Yeah. They've won their close games. LSU has. I like Arkansas at home. As you stated, I don't know which quarterback's going to play. I would think the starter is because of the line.
The line, correct. You're going to take Hawks?
Because he turns it over a lot, but he's athletic and he can make some throws. The other kid's more of a runner, but I'm going with Bobby Petrino dialing him up, and I'll take the Hawks.
He's unbelievable, this guy, Petrino. 63 years old and still calling plays. I love Nussmeier. I don't disagree with you about him and his ability and how good he is. And LSU has been getting away with some real squeakers. But Arkansas is sitting there waiting on him. Had a week off last week to come off that Tennessee win, and I think it's a tough spot for LSU. So let's take Arkansas, which means LSU will probably win by 2 touchdowns.
Let me get this text on the Titanamar text line from Josh in Mississippi. He says, maybe Graham Mertz gets drafted or signed by the 49ers, becomes Brock Purdy's backup, is reunited with Pearsall. How do you think he would be in the Shanahan office? I think it'd be good. I don't know if he'll get drafted, but I think he'll get a chance to go to somebody's camp, and I think he'll make a roster.
All right, fair enough. I'd love to see it for Graham Mertz. Good kid, man. He played his heart out for Florida Gators. All right, game of the week is clearly in Austin, Texas, and so many things you could break down with this game. But I think it simply comes down to the health of Quinn Ewers. He was not, as I think I've heard you say before this week, that he didn't seem to be 100% against OU, but he didn't have to be. I think this extra week has helped him, I would think. But Georgia's missing a linebacker. I heard you and Brent Beard talking about yesterday all the injuries at Texas. Georgia's missing their starting linebacker in the middle. That guy won't play. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. Anytime. Think about it. How many times in life are you going to get Kirby Smart, the Georgia Bulldogs, at 5 points? And I'm going to tell you, hardly ever. And right now is the spot where you are, so give them to me. I'll take the Dogs plus the 5. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but that's a good number to take, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, you're going to see a different Georgia team, in my opinion, this week. Last week.
Looking ahead. They were looking ahead, QB.
Totally. Yeah, and Kirby probably got their attention during practice. I like the Dogs to win the game. F45 training merges 3 leading-edge fitness training styles into one 45-minute functional training class. Visit f45training.com to learn more. A few more picks here with JC on the Titanamar hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tip. I like the Dogs. Gotcha. A lot of people are asking about Dustin Lynch. Tonight is Gator Growl. It's not the same. It's not even close to what it used to be, but it's in the O'Connell Center. Dustin Lynch is a country singer. Yep. His dad played for the Gators like in the 70s, I believe.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. Dustin Lynch is very good. I'm sure JC, for everybody that's going to do the Gator Gallop, JC will be out there signing autographs as he jogs on his 2-mile run.
Well, my knee needs to be worked on before I start doing that kind of thing. But thank you for the endorsement. Yes, I will sign autographs. Whatever. I wouldn't even know how to do it. I think I'd go JAC3.
You never practiced your signature?
I started to, and then I just
you
nobody
decided
asked.
To go in. Then you decided to be a sportscaster.
Nobody asked. I mean, yeah. Kentucky at Florida. You don't pick the Gator game. It's a 1.5 spread. The Gators are an underdog here. I think we're looking at a low-scoring game, and I just hope DJ isn't overwhelmed by the moment. I don't see anything from Kentucky offensively that scares me. I think hopefully Florida's found something defensively these last 2 weeks. So I think I would take Florida getting the 1.5 at home, only because Kentucky has just been very disappointing on offense. Now, they do have a very good win at Mississippi. There's no denying that, but they had to pull it out of their you-know-what to get that win, and Mississippi kind of gave it up, I think. So I would like to take Florida there. Tonight, we got FSU and Duke QB. I'm going to take I have no idea about Duke right now, but I can tell you FSU is lousy. I'm going to take Duke laying the 3. You got any preference on that?
I just don't think FSU is very good. I'll take
No,
the Dukies
like
at,
three.
what is it, Wade Wallace? What is that?
Wallace
Stadium?
Wade. Wallace Wade. And now here's some extras for you. You used to call this the JC3, but if you're looking for some secret games on Hard Rock, the only legal place to bet sports in the state of Florida, from Pensacola to Key West, and all points in between, you got to look at the New Mexico, Utah State under 78. And I never play
78.
78 is the total. Now, that normally would not be a total that you would be scared of with two teams that have horrible defenses. But remember, the clock keeps running.
Right.
And the games are shorter. You got to go under 78 here. And then I would also look at Iowa, Michigan State going over 39. And the reason for that is because Iowa is 5-1 this year against on the over-unders over. The over is 5-1 in Iowa games this year. That's a trend you want to follow. See, great trends here I'm giving you. I also love Iowa State to absolutely bury Central Florida up there in Ames, Iowa. They're hot.
Ooh.
And I think Cincinnati laying 4 against Arizona State with that backup quarterback, Jeff Sims, is a good bet playing that game in Cincinnati. Arizona State flying 3 time zones. That I don't care. It's not easy. I don't care who you are. And listen, Cincinnati's a pretty respectable team. Beat Pittsburgh. Didn't beat Pittsburgh, but should have. No, they beat somebody last week. It wasn't Pittsburgh. It was another team they played. But Cincinnati is a very good team. For in the Big 12.
Cincinnati beat UCF last week.
UCF, excuse me. Okay, so Cincinnati -4 against Arizona State with a backup.
All right, text on the Titanamore text line. Christopher Cottondale says it was definitely Robbie Bosco. He was the national championship QB for BYU.
Yeah,
Thanks for that.
That was because Florida wasn't allowed. Florida wasn't allowed to have a national championship. But
we got tons of texts coming in with Bosco being the quarterback. Appreciate it, fellas.
Everybody back in '84 who watched it and knows Florida would have blown out BYU that year. And it's because of the physicality and the physical nature Florida played with, the fact that they just destroyed Georgia and Auburn back-to-back that year. And I was running around up in Tuscaloosa, and I told everybody in the dorm the Gators were going to beat these two Georgia and Auburn teams, and everybody loved it when they beat Auburn. Just loved it. And that was a hell of a team, man.
Did you use your Hard Rock app?
No. No, there was none of that going on. I don't even think the casino was built back in '84 in Tampa, but that was a heck of a year, man. And so was '85. '85 was another good year for the Gators. So Kerwin will tell you all about it.
Yeah, real quick, we didn't pick the Alabama-Georgia game. Tennessee game.
My God, how do I forget that? I didn't have it. Thank you for. How did I not have that? I'm sorry. Kind of sleepy this morning. All right, Alabama and Tennessee. Well, listen, I mean, you've got a struggling offense against a struggling defense. QB. How do you play?
I like Alabama big.
Why? How? Why?
I think Milroe will have a day against them.
Needs to have a day.
I think Nico is a liability, man.
You really are down on him.
He may hit some balls this week, but I just think Alabama's going to be ready to play.
You're really down on Nico. I mean,
I think he's terrible.
You saw him one time, QB.
What?
You saw him play one game.
JC, when you get off of here, I want you to look at, and stats sometimes don't tell the whole story, but look at his stats against SEC opponents. Just look at them. It's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad.
Well, I'm from your mouth to God's ears. Roll Tide. I hope they beat Tennessee's ass.
I think they do for sure. No question about it. So. All right, JC.
All right, well,
we're very disappointed you're not in Gator Gallop today.
Oh man, Gator Gallop. Everybody shuts down. The schools once again have another day off.
You know what's really sad we got about 1 minute.
Okay.
Really sad for the generation that's here, because there was nothing comparable to Florida homecoming back in the day.
It was great.
Because we lived in the dorm, so we were right there. We got to watch all the skits and all that stuff as they practiced them all week. All those people in that stadium. They had the great comedians, the great musicians. Yeah. And now it's just I don't know why. I mean,
I know why, but I'm not going to say it on the show. But it's just that I think people they get so offended so easily these days now.
Oh, well, that's true.
Things are so different than they were in the day when You didn't worry about every single word that came out of your mouth now like you do today. It's a police state. And I just think that I think it's too bad. But you're right, QB. Yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, the times back then, it was so much more fun. But listen, that's not the pee on the parade now. They got the parade. The kids are going to be running around. You know, during the parades, I used to run. They used to have kids line up on the curb of the street, and the people on the floats would throw candy to us. It was the most fun thing I've ever done. That would be not even thought of now today. But that was how they did it back then. It was very enjoyable. And of course, we all love getting the day off from school, right? Now you get every day off from school. But I think it's just too bad, like you said. But they do the best they can with what they're allowed to do.
Yeah, but it's a shame. All right, JC, have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday. That's JC joining us on the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. Quick timeout. We'll get Coach Bell. He's probably I hope he's not on one of those yellow school buses. Hope they chartered. We'll see if the Catamounts charter or not.
Ask him to take.
We're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Gridiron sponsors, Comfort Temp, UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Rules Ogra State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Miapa Latin Cafe, Gator Bait Media, Aikido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Nest and Wild, Florida Victorious, Electronics World.
If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Rose Ogra State Farm Office, a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ograinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. We're going to head to the Titan MRR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by a good friend of the program, the guy that taught me everything I know how to play quarterback. I don't think people realize that. Coach Kerwin Bell of the Western Carolina Catamounts, talking about the 84 team. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Hey, Shane, man. You was the old little skinny kid back when I was down there. GA. I tell everybody all the time, man, that was unbelievable how, I tore my knee to go there and was there to help. And I seen things when Coach Spurrier was coaching you up, and I was sort of just there helping. That's when I decided I wanted to coach football, man. I love the way we've always talked about that. And a lot of the things I do, man, is from Coach Spurrier. Just the way he coaches the position at quarterback and also offensively. It was an eye opener to all of us back then. And man, you had some great years there. It was fun to be there on that first year. You was a starter.
Yeah, and well, we wanted to get you on because obviously the 84 team will be honored tomorrow. It's a 40-year anniversary. I've been trying to inform people. I don't know all the situation, but there's a lot of players on that team, Kerwin, that are bitter towards the university for whatever reason. You will not be able to be there because you have to coach a ball game tomorrow. But it's about time, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think the big thing was that we did it on the field, and we thought, we were a very talented football team. We did it against all the odds. We went 8 straight in a row after having your coach replaced. The players in that locker room decided, and I tell people, I tell our team, and when I'm coaching my team, is up here we hadn't won a SoCon championship. And I said, it's not a mistake that you're sitting in in this meeting room and being a part of this football team. And I believe that back, 1984, it wasn't a mistake that every one of those guys were sitting in that room for a reason. And, we made a decision to we decided, hey, it was us against the world. We could only depend on the guys in that room. And I think that really brought us together. And, we went on an 8-game winning streak, and we're really dominant throughout those games.
Yeah, very dominant. And it wasn't because of the lack of talent. I think if people pull up that roster, whether you're familiar with the Gators or not, a lot of those names will be familiar because you had a lot of guys that played in the National Football League, and especially on your side of the ball, Kerwin. I mean, your backfield was loaded with 3 first-rounders. Ricky was a first-rounder, and you had Lomas. Just talk a little bit about what it was like being a young guy, because you were probably – I mean, I think you were a redshirt freshman. I can't remember exactly what you were, but that when you started in '84, you had some good players around you.
Yeah, I went into that fall camp as the number 5, and then right before the camp, one of the quarterbacks, the top 4, had one of them had failed out of school that summer, moved me into the top 4. We sort of competed for it, and I came out of there 4 days before the first game as the number 2. I was happy, man. I was 8 string the year before as a walk-on, so 8 string the next day on a Tuesday. Dale Dormany goes down with an knee injury. And I stepped into the number 1 huddle, and I was blessed, Shane, to be able to be around a team like that. I think I got touched maybe 7 times. Somebody said I got sacked 7 times. That might have been the only times I got touched the whole year. The Great Wall, Florida. Billy Henson played in the NFL. Crawford Kerr, Jeff Zimmerman. Lomas Brown's known as one of the best tackles to play in the history of the NFL. As an all-pro guy, 20 years starting for the Detroit Lions. Neil Anderson, when he took over for Walter Payton, he was known as one of the best backs in the NFL. So, and then John L. Williams was an all-pro 10 or 12 years, with the Steelers and the Seahawks. And like you say, 3 first-round picks in the backfield. Ricky Nattil, who was a great wide receiver first-rounder. Frankie Neal, who's probably as athletic as anybody that we had. Frankie was an unbelievable player. Sort of failed out of school with his senior year, but still got drafted in the 3rd round, was on the all-rookie team in the NFL. So there was a lot of talent on that side of the ball. And really, it was me. I was so young early. I think we was trying to figure it out. I remember being 1-1-1, and we had tied LSU, lost a tough one to Miami, and then blew out Tulane. And then when Coach Pell, when all that happened, and they named Galen Hall as the head coach, we were sitting there 1-1-1, but we knew we had a good football team, and I think that really brought us together. And I think Galen was probably the perfect guy to do that. He had that, his mentality was really a laid-back, quiet personality, and he just let us go out and play. And I think that was the perfect situation for what we had to go through.
Yeah, text here on the Titan MR text line. This is from Sheila. She wants to know, Kerwin, what was your favorite moment of that '84 year?
Well, I tell people all the time, and I think it's in your memories. I think all of us was when we flew back on the plane, beat Kentucky up there in November of 1984, and we're flying back, and the pilot comes on and says, "Hey, Tennessee lost, and you're now outright SEC champions." About that time, he goes over to the stadium, and there's already 30,000 people in the seats there at Florida Field. And then we go into the, land there at the airport, and they have buses, and there's just thousands of people at the airport to get to the buses. Get on the bus, come into Gainesville, and the streets, Shane, are literally filled up. I mean, every street, there at the corner there of the university, it was just filled, packed, everybody in the streets. And we finally got through and got to the stadium, and then had a little deal at the stadium that was unbelievable. But I seen 60-year-old men, back then it was old. We're about that age now, but back then 60-year-old men crying in the streets, because there was such an emotion of doing something that's never been done at Florida before. And that's something that'll stay with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Another text here. This is a good text, interesting text on the Titan Mar text line from Larry. He says, Shane, you and Kerwin's stories are very similar. Even though you were a scholarship, he was a walk-on. Y'all were both buried deep down on the depth chart. What made y'all become starters at Florida? I think it's being at the right place at the right time, some lucky things happening to get that opportunity for me. Um, Same for you, Kerwin. I mean, it goes to show you it doesn't matter about the stars and all that kind of stuff. Certain players have unique skills that they can utilize. But yeah, we both were very, like I tell people, it depended on what day of the week it was, whether I was fifth string or sixth string, it alternated. That's a pretty good text right there.
That's right. Yeah. And, you said the word lucky, right? I tell people all the time, so they say, Kerwin, you were lucky in your career. I said, man, I'm glad I'm lucky, because what lucky is, Shane, and you were the same way, is that when opportunity arose, you were prepared for it. And that a lot of people ain't prepared when their opportunity comes. And I try to tell our football team or anybody in life, there's always going to be opportunity available. It's just a matter of you going to be prepared to meet that opportunity. And, we were both put in that position, and we got that opportunity finally. And when we did, we took advantage of it.
Kerwin, I think, back in the day when you were buried on the depth chart, you ran a lot of the scout team. And I think the scout team was different back in those days as it is nowadays. It was usually live.
Yeah.
How many shots did you take from the Wilbur Marshalls of the world?
Oh my God. We had Wilbur Marshall, Mark Korf, all them guys, man. You took shots every day. You'd go home and do I want to do this anymore? Especially on Tuesdays. That was like a bloodbath, man. And you were 8th string, that year before I was 8th string, and they didn't care if they hurt you or not. So, it was tough. Wilbur Marshall, man, them guys were crazy.
We'll get you out of here in just a second, Coach, but another text came through here. This is from George. He wants to know, did you take anything that you use now in your coaching from Galen Hall?
Yeah, I try to take something from a lot of people I've been around. Don Shula's and all the ones that I was been around, and from Galen, I just took his quiet confidence and the way his mannerisms, the way he, Coach Pell was a good football coach, man. We really believed in him. I thought he was a really unbelievable coach. Way him and Ward, they accepted you as being a part of the family and how much they cared for you. But then when Galen got there, it was more of a quiet confidence. It was more of a, we'd get sort of so uptight going into games, and he was more of a laid back, just let you do your thing to get ready to play. And I thought Galen handled that football team extremely well in a very important time. It could have went either way, but I thought just the way he handled everybody, I thought his play calling in those situations was really good. And I thought he did a really good job of just being that quiet leader, that sort of demeanor that we needed, that helped us sort of overcome some of the nerves and stuff that you have in big games. I thought we didn't get tight after he became the head coach. I thought we was more relaxed, and we were able to go out and play at a high level. And I think that's what head coaches are about, Shane, is can you get your team to play at a high level? Do you have that kind of ability? It's not in a book. There's a lot of these book coaches, right? They grew up learning things from the book. But I think you have to have great instincts. And Steve Spurrier had those great instincts of how to coach a football team and what do you need to say. And, that I learned a lot from a lot of those coaches about that, how to sort of handle a football team and get them to play at a high level.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I say it all the time. There's so many coaches that are great at interviewing for jobs, and they're great learning how to coach at conventions, but they don't know how to coach when it's live action. Dan says, or he wants to know if you could tell us a good Jan Hall story here, Dan, on Facebook Live. You got a good Jan Hall story for us?
Well, I don't know. I was sharing with some. I did a little video for the guys that are going back and their families this weekend, and because I wasn't gonna be able to be there, so I made a video. And I was talking about, man, I envy all you guys, being able to tell stories and and all of the great things that happen back there, and see everybody in their life right now, and see their kids and stuff. I wish I could be back there. Me and Cosette would love to have been able to go back, but I got a funny story. Frankie Neal was a character, and I remember we were in Yon Hall. Back then you're in Yon Hall. We just got through eating, and we're over in that rec room with the pool tables and stuff. And Frankie looked down, man. I said, "Frankie, what's wrong?" He said, "Boys, I've had a rough day." He just got his statistics, which is a tough class. He said, "I've been in that class today," and he said, "I was sitting there," and he said, all of a sudden the teacher started. This is our freshman year now, and he goes, the teacher started going around the room asking questions. I'm like, oh my God. And so he got to Frankie, and I think it was a lady. She goes, "Frankie, what's pi square plus pi square?" He said, "Boys, I had no clue what the answer was. All I knew was when my mama made 2 pies that equaled a cake." So he said, "When my mama used to make 2 pies that equaled that was a cake." So that was the answer. So we just had a good time, man. Living in Yon Hall, that was a great experience. Just because every day you would hang out with the guys, and I think that's why we were so close as a football team, is that we were all in there eating together, living life together, and it was a great experience for me. It was a little one-room deal. It wasn't that good of a place, it wasn't like these nice apartments they have now. But I really enjoyed being around the guys and just having a great time.
I agree. I think it's ruined college athletics, getting rid of the athletic dorms, because the things that went on in Yon Hall, not only just football players, but all the male athletes were in there, and it was some good times for sure. All right, Kerwin, before we let you go, you couldn't find, you and Cosette couldn't get the Western Carolina school plane and fly from Furman to the swamp. You just think about the entrance you could have had, because your game's going to be over about 4:30. You can make it.
Well, I know. I wish I had a plane. I would have tried for sure, Shane. No, we don't have a private plane here. But yeah. And Shane, I'm an old school kind of guy as far as coaches. There's a lot of my coaches, even in this league, that go back in cars or whatever. I want to go back with my team. I just feel like you go play a battle and you're in the game and you're battling your butt off, and hopefully you win it, and you want to share that and go back with your team. And so I've always felt like, going back on the bus with my team or on the plane or whatever it is, that you do that as a head coach. So I hate to miss it, but we'll get through, like you say, around 4:30. But we'll be traveling back, and once I get back, I'll get back in here and watch it on TV, and hopefully get to see it then. Okay,
all these people want me to ask you: would you be willing to coach the Florida Gators?
Would I be willing? Naturally, there's a guy there now, Coach Napier, right? Who I think will continue to get better this year. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm here trying to figure out my problems. I think we've got a really good squad that can finish the year and win a championship. I told this team, I said, y'all can't let me down now. For three places I've been, we've won championships by my 4th year, one being a national championship at Valdosta State in our 3rd year. I said, so y'all better not screw it up this year. So I think we've got a team to do it. Billy Gonzalez, boy, Cole is our starting quarterback, and I think we got a really good team. And Kay took 3 of them to Pitt, and they're all playing great at Pitt, the running back and 2 receivers. So we've had to sort of adjust to that, and Kay's doing really well. I'm proud of him at Pitt. But, yeah, it's like you, Shane, we would all love to be at Florida. I would love to give it a shot and see what I could do.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody knows how I feel about it. Speaking of Cade, he has done a great job. And the best, here's what's crazy. The best players at Pitt are your players from Western Carolina.
Right.
Think about that, people. I think one kid is leading the ACC in all-purpose yards who came from Western Carolina. But I got to ask this, Kerwin. Does Cosette go to your games or Cade's games now?
She's actually leaving to go up to Boston later in the year to see her, our little girl. Tinsley's up there, married. Yeah. And so, they're going to Boston College game. And I said, well, we may have a playoff game may have our first round of playoffs. She says, well, you better win so you get a bye the first round. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just know how mamas are with their little boys, though. I figured she'd be traveling to Pittsburgh quite a bit. Kerwin, good stuff as always. Your game tomorrow, what 2:00 against Furman?
Yeah, 2:00 Furman. Tough place to play, man. You know, they're sort of like the Alabama to SEC. They've won a bunch of SoCon championships.
Yeah.
And they went to the Final Four last year. We barely lost to them last year, and they had 40-something seniors, so they got a big turnover. So it's going to be a game we can go win. We just got to go play really well and put a bunch of points on the board.
I got to ask one more question. Have you and Coach Odom gotten into it at all on the sidelines yet this year?
Well, you know, I'm sort of a tough guy on the sideline when it comes to those referees, but yeah, to calm him down. So that tells you where we're at. You know, he's putting in this new system. I really believe we got a really balanced football team, much better than we've had any time that we've been here. You know, we've got a defense now with Coach Odom. He does a really good job, and we're getting better and better every week. But man, he is fire. He's a fireball now. What I love about him, he don't settle for anything. You know, he holds everybody accountable, even himself. And yeah, he's a character on the sideline, but he's a great football coach. And I'm glad I got him now back as my defensive coordinator this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Kerwin, appreciate your time. Sorry you're going to miss the festivities, but good luck to the Catamounts. We will be watching. We expect a SoCon championship, my friend.
All right. I appreciate y'all, man, and go Gators.
All right. That's Kerwin Bell. The great Kerwin Bell join us on the Tight No More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Really good football coach, people. Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians, great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe. Brooksville, Florida. FloridaCracker.com. We'll recap the whole weekend. It should be a great weekend of football. Remember, today you got more baseball and got some college games tonight. But Gators kick off tomorrow night. Homecoming, if you're coming into town, have a great weekend. Enjoy the parade. Enjoy Gator Growl if you go to that. Be careful. Make sure you stretch well if you run the Gator Gallop. Things of that nature. Florida Victoria is proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators. Join today to help make Florida victorious. And let's hope the Gators are victorious Saturday night. Have a great day, folks. Great weekend.